Miracles literally mean wondrous events, but also in the context of the Bible, they often mean signs, things that signify something very particular. And in the case of the story of Jesus, the miracles in the Bible are telling us something about what his life means. And here we see the seventh of a series of miracles that are narrated in one of the four versions of Jesus' life in the Bible, the Gospel of John. The whole of that gospel is structured around these seven miracles, and this final one is an event where a man is raised to life from the dead.
Yes, in this panel by Albert van Ouwater, painted in the mid-15th century, he's representing the raising of Lazarus. And this event occurred when Jesus was called to the bedside of the ailing, the sick Lazarus. He knew he didn't have much time left on earth, and his sisters called Jesus, hoping that he could save their brother. And Jesus arrives several days late, so Lazarus has already died and been entombed. And the moment we see here, Jesus has arrived to the tomb of Lazarus and has called him forth. So he calls him to life. He says, "Lazarus, rise." And miraculously, the dead body of Lazarus is essentially awoken, comes into new life. And wonderfully, how we see this represented here is Lazarus sitting upright and kind of awaking as if from a deep sleep, looking a little bit dazed.
The two sisters you just mentioned, Mary and Martha, are here at the left of the painting as well. And these three all lived in one house, and we hear in the Bible that Jesus often visited them, so they were good friends of his. And the fact that Lazarus is his friend is the cause of a particular emotional charge to this miracle. It's the only time in the Bible that Jesus is described as weeping, because he loved Lazarus. And so we can imagine that in performing this miracle, there was also something very personal going on. It's dramatic in other ways as well, because, as you say, Lazarus had been in the tomb for some time, and he'd clearly already begun to decompose, because the Bible says he stank quite abruptly and directly. And we can see this being registered by the artist in the postures of these various onlookers who are holding cloths up to their nose to try and block out the smell. So it's very vivid, it's very sort of earthy, smelly, sensual, and also emotionally a very intense moment.
Yes, it's very evocative. And interestingly, this artist represents the raising of Lazarus indoors. More traditionally, we expect to see this scene represented in the history of art out of doors. And even more specifically, in this case, the event seems to be taking place in the Jewish temple, which would be appropriate for this time period. And yet the artist has also added another layer of interpretation here, because this interior actually looks very like a kind of Netherlandish church of his own time. So there seems to be a kind of telescoping of different times here.
As well as this being the seventh miracle, there's another set of seven things in the same gospel. And there are seven statements by Jesus, all of which say, "I am something. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world," and so on. And one of those "I am" statements is uttered on the occasion of this last and seventh miracle. And it's, "I am the resurrection and the life." Resurrection referring to the coming back to life, rising from the dead. But there's a sort of irony here, because this power over life and death, which Jesus manifests at this moment, is about to apparently ebb away, his deeds of power to give way to an extreme vulnerability, because this is his last miracle, and any minute he's going to make his way towards Jerusalem, where he'll be arrested, put on trial, and eventually crucified. And that's what we're going to look at in our next film, which explores the crucifixion.